Well, while that World Cup in Russia may only just have ended, interest is already turning to the next World Cup to be held in 2022 in Qatar. Tainted by accusations of corruption and the death of labourers on some of the stadium sites, the Qatar tournament has already hit the headlines for the wrong reasons. Saudi Arabia has now imposed a blockade on Qatar, which is only putting up the price tag of those games. But the country does not want to give in to the pressure from its bigger neighbour and is preparing for the World Cup, no matter what it costs.
In Doha, skyscrapers seem to continuously rise from the ground. New cities, highways, a metro system. Qatar plans to spend 200 billion euros organising the next World Cup, more than any other nation before it. But the bill could soar, because for a year, Qatar has been subject to an economic embargo by Saudi Arabia. The highway that connects the two countries, along which trucks used to pass, is now deserted. And yet, despite the blockade, the construction sites are running at full speed. In the middle of the desert is WAKRAH, one of the future stadiums of the World Cup.
People walking up.
The Qatari site manager acts as our guide. Under his charge are some 4,000 workers and about 50 local and foreign companies that work in shifts through day and night.
Another thing special about this project is the only stadium in 2022 that has a closed roof.
In total, Qatar has embarked on the construction of 8 stadiums of colossal dimensions for a small country of only 2 million inhabitants. Bedouin tents, traditional boats. During the World Cup, Qatar intends to use these stadiums, inspired by local culture, to highlight its heritage.
The architect and inspiration thought of having different ships on the shore being maintained, and you could see the bottom of the ship actually. It's amazing.
In spite of the Saudi embargo, there's no question of Qatar cutting back on construction, even if that requires tapping into its financial reserves. So the country has had to urgently reorganize all its import channels, by sea or air.
We changed some materials. We looked for alternative sources of supply, and we chose them according to the quality, according to the prices.
As a result, the shipyards have not officially suffered any delays. To meet the deadlines, Qatar relies on a cheap and numerous workforce. Coming from the Indian subcontinent, these labourers work in temperatures that exceed 50 degrees in the summer. Human rights organisations have denounced the dozens of deaths that occur each year due to the dangerous conditions. A spokesperson from among the organisers of the World Cup gave us a rushed tour of one of their accommodation sites.
Free laundry, supermarket there, big supermarket, barber shop. And we have the clinic here, gym, we have a gym, sports facilities.
So these are very good conditions for you?
Very good indeed, very good.
There's no time to ask questions of the employees, and we're told we have to leave. Qatar's only concession to international pressure to improve their conditions has been the adoption of a minimum wage of 166 euros per month. Rather than filming the workers, the organising committee of the World Cup prefer us to attend a photo shoot they organised with XAVI. The former captain of the Barcelona team and world champion with Spain poses at the point where the 2022 World Cup will kick off. XAVI has been recruited to be one of the ambassadors of the Qatari World Cup. He's even expected to be the future coach of the national team.
Metro stations less than a kilometer away.
One of my goals here is to share my experience with the players, with both the Barcelona and the Spanish national team. I hope that helps the younger generations and that they'll do well during the next World Cup.
Having made huge financial investments, Qatar also intends to shine on the playing field. For the last 15 years, the Emirate has been searching for talent in the country's football schools. The best players are sent to a luxurious sports complex, the Aspire Academy. Each year, 100 students, recruited for their athletic abilities, train here, and all of them dream of following the path of their idols at Paris Saint-Germain, the Parisian club that's owned by the Qatari royal family.
Okay, who are you inspired by? Neymar. Which football team does he play for? Where is he from?
Brazil. We have good skills and good player.
You would like to become like him?
Yes.
And play to PSG?
Yes.
In this class, there are children of Indian workers, Gambians, Sudanese and Palestinians. But the majority are Qataris. Whereas in the past, the country has been criticized for naturalizing sportsmen during competitions so as to compete for them, the ambitions of the authority now are clear: to train a generation of athletes capable of winning medals.
This opportunity is given to young people living in Qatar, whether they are Qatari or children of foreign residents. All children of foreign residents have the opportunity to apply to the academy if they have outstanding sporting qualities.
It's not just the Football World Cup that Qatar will host, but also the next Athletics and Swimming World Championships. More than ever, Qatar is banking on sport to make its presence known on the international stage.